We are going to be crocheting this beautiful hat today. I love the color, I love the roses. So grab your materials and let's get started. You can use any two color of yarn that you want, a measuring tape, your needle, your crochet hook and a pair of scissors. Also you need a darning needle. So we are going to start by making a slip knot. Then we are going to chain 90. We are starting with making the rose flower. So you chain 90. Just go ahead and chain that and I will meet you at the end. So after you have your chain of 90, just place your hand on the very last stitch and then go ahead and chain 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you go into that stitch where your hand is with a double crochet. So you're going to go in and make a double crochet. So this counts as our first V stitch. What we are going to do now is we are going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then into the third stitch we are going to place a double crochet. We chain 3 and in that same stitch we are going to place another double crochet. Then we are going to skip 2 more stitches and into the third stitch we are going to place a double crochet. Chain 3 and in that same stitch we are going to place a double crochet stitch. Skip 2 stitches, into the third stitch you place a double crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and in that same stitch you place a double crochet. So this is a pattern we are going to repeat till we get to the end of our row. Now at the end, if you have 2, 1 or 3 stitches before the last stitch, just skip and you go into the very last stitch with a double crochet. Then you're going to chain 3, go into that same stitch with a double crochet. Then we are going to chain, your work is going to look curly like this. Then go ahead and chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to turn your work. That is going to count as our first double crochet. So you go into that V stitch with 5 more double crochet stitches. So we have 6 double crochet stitches in total. We are going to go into that space right there between the 2 V stitches. I will place a single crochet stitch. Now into the next V stitch we are going to place 6 double crochet stitches. Now that we have our 6 stitches, we are going to go into that space with a single crochet stitch. And then into our next V stitch, we are going to go in with 8 double crochet stitches. This is the second, third. Just keep placing till you have 8 double crochet stitches. So we are just going to be placing 8 double crochet stitches in all the V stitches, and then a single crochet in the space in between the V stitches till we get to the last 2 V stitches where we are going to place 10 double crochet stitch into each V stitch. Then we are going to chain 1, cut off our yarn. Make sure you leave a little bit of yarn that you are going to use to sew your rows. So we are wrapping from the end that has smaller number of stitches, where we did 6 double crochet stitches. We are going to wrap all the way to the end where we have our tail that we are going to use to sew the rows. So you are just putting each layer slightly beneath the other one. So this is how our rose flower is looking like. You need to grab your darning needle so we can sew the flower to stay in shape. Okay, as you're sewing, just make sure you're going through multiple layers of the rows to hold everything intact. See, I'm going through many layers so that my rose flower should be firm. It's like going into those V stitches we made, go into a couple of them and secure with your yarn. Okay, we are just going to tie both ends and cut it with our scissors, and we are done with our rows. So you are going to make 5 more of those so you can have 6 in total. But if you want your roses to be thick without spaces on your hat, you go ahead and make about 8 or 9 roses in total. Now for the hat, we are going to start by making a slip knot. Then you can do a traditional magic ring or you chain 5 and then go into the very first stitch and make a slip stitch. Now we have a magic ring to work with. Now you're going to go ahead and chain 2. This 2 is not going to count as a stitch, so go into your magic ring and you place 10 double crochet stitches. Okay, now that we have our 10 stitches, we are just going to go into our first double crochet stitch. Just ignore the chain 2. We're going to make a slip stitch like this. Then go ahead and chain 2. This 2 isn't going to count as a stitch, so into that very space we are going to place 2 double crochet stitches. In our next stitch we are going to place 2 double crochet stitches, and we are going to place 2 double crochet stitch into every stitch all round till we get back to our starting point. Now we are going to have 20 double crochet stitches in total. Know that stitch is linked to our chain 2, so you are not working into that stitch. Just ignore the chain 2, go into our very first stitch and you make a slip stitch to close off the round. Now to start row 3 we are going to chain 2, and into that same stitch we are going to place a double crochet. We make an increase by placing 2 double crochet stitches into the same stitch, single crochet in the next stitch, and increase by placing 2 double crochet stitches, and we are going to repeat this all round, making our increases into the second stitches. We are just going to slip stitch to close off the round. We are slip stitching into our very first double crochet stitch. Now go ahead and chain 2. In that same space you are going to place your first double crochet stitch, a double crochet into the next stitch, and increase in the third stitch by placing 2 double crochet stitches. Let's repeat again. 1 double crochet into the next 2 stitches, then an increase into the third stitch by placing 2 double crochet stitches. We are just going to repeat that all around so we come back to our starting point. Ignore the chain 2 and make a slip stitch into our very first double crochet stitch. And then go ahead and chain 2. In that same stitch you're going to place a double crochet. In the next stitch we are going to place a double crochet, 1 double crochet, and then we are going to do an increase by placing 2 double crochets into the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, and then into the fourth stitch we are going to make an increase by placing 2 double crochet stitches. Repeat that to the end and you make a slip stitch. Chain 2, go into the same stitch with a double crochet, double crochet in the next 3 stitches, so now it's into the 5th stitch we are going to place 2 double crochet stitches, 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches, and in the 5th stitch we are going to place 2 double crochet stitches. We are going to repeat this all around to come back to our starting point. We are just going to make a slip stitch into the very first double crochet, then we chain 2. In that same stitch we are going to place a double crochet, second double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, and our increase is in the 6th stitch on this row. Now into the 6th stitch we are going to place 2 double crochet stitches, and then we repeat 1 double crochet in the next 5 stitches, and then an increase in the 6th stitch by placing 2 double crochet stitches. So we are going to repeat this all around till we come back to our starting point. We will make a slip stitch, chain 2, in the same stitch we go in with a double crochet, and then a double crochet into the next 5 stitches, and then into the 7th stitch we are going to make an increase by placing 2 double crochet stitches. So 1 double crochet in the next 6 stitches, and in the 7th stitch we are going to place 2 double crochet stitches. We are going to repeat this all round till we get back to our starting point. Now I think I have my crown right here, 6.5 inches, almost 6.6 inches. So for an adult hat is basically between 6.5 to 7 inches. So what I'm going to do now is to chain 2. In that same stitch I'm going in with a double crochet, and I'm going to place 1 double crochet into every other stitch because we are no longer doing increases. So you're just going to do that all round so we'll come back to our starting point. We have gone round. We are just going to slip stitch into the very first double crochet stitch, then we chain 2. In that same stitch we are going in with a double crochet, and we are going to repeat these rows of non-increases a couple of times depending on the yarn and the hook size you're using till we have 7 inches. That is the length of the hat I'm going for. So just keep repeating rows of non-increases so you have 7 inches. Then you're going to, for the last row, you're going to chain 1 and then you cut off your yarn. You're just going to pull that and secure it. So if you measure, this is giving 7 inches. Now it is time to add our roses to our hat. So I'm just going to mix the colors. You can do however you please to. So I'm going to have an arrangement like this. I'm going to grab my darning needle, stretch it with some yarn, then I can start attaching my roses onto my hat. Okay, now let's attach our rose. Start from the inside and make sure you leave some tail, and we are going to use tie at the end because if you just pull through, all your yarn is going to pull through. So leave a tail of a yarn inside, and then you go through the layers of the rose like that to make sure that everything is firm. When you're sewing, go through the layers of the rose. Move into those V stitches we made when we were crocheting our rose. Go into them and sew onto our hat. You're going to do that so many times until you see that the rose is firmly secured onto your hat. So just repeat that, do that over and over. Look where I'm going through here. You're not going through the petals of the rose. You're going at the bottom where we have the spaces, and you secure like that. So that's what you're going to do onto your hat. Your rose is secured onto your hat, and you're going to repeat this for all the other roses. Please, if you haven't given this video a like, please make sure you like, drop a comment to encourage me to make more videos, subscribe to my channel and turn on bell notification so you'll be notified each time I upload a new video. So this is how you're just going to sew your rose a couple of times to secure it, and do same for all the other roses. Look at how cute our hat is. I love the roses. I love the color combo. Let me know in the comment section which color you think can go. Thank you very much for watching.